Officer Gonell, I'd like to ask you, you described in your testimony that you said it was like a medieval battlefield, and that what you were subjected to that day was something like a medieval battlefield. You said we fought hand to hand and inch by inch to prevent an invasion of the Capitol by a violent mob intent on subverting our democratic process. And is it the case that as you were fighting there, you were not aware that the Capitol had been breached elsewhere? I believe you said that you really thought you were the last line of defense. Is that right?
That is correct, ma'am.
Capitol Officer Aquilino Gonell recently had more to say about his thoughts on Mike Pence's statements regarding the January 6th insurrection and how the Democrats and the media were simply trying to demoralize the intentions of 74 million Americans across the country. But before we get into those comments, let's take another look at kind of what happened on that day, as I'm sure none of you have forgotten.
Multiple capital injuries! Multiple capital injuries!
Fuck you, police!
We're still taking metal, sharpened objects, missiles to include bottles and rocks, and hand-thrown chemical-grade fireworks.
Capitol Officer Aquilino Gonell's comments come after Mike Pence recently complained that Democrats and the media simply want to use that one day to try and demean the character and intentions of 74 million Americans. The officer says, "We risked our lives to give them enough time to get to safety, and allegedly some of them were in communication with some of the rioters and with some of the coordinators, or in the know of what would happen. And it makes you question their motives and their loyalty for the country, as we were battling the mob in a brutal battle where I could have lost my life and my dear fellow officers." He went on to say, "That one day in January almost cost my life, and we did everything possible to prevent Pence from being hanged and killed in front of his daughter and his wife. And now he's telling us that one day in January doesn't mean anything. It's pathetic. It's a disgrace. He swore an oath to the country, not to Donald Trump." And I have to agree with him 100%. Now, the longer I'm involved in politics, the more I see the creeping concern of the growing authoritarianism within the Republican Party, because they back themselves into a corner such that all they have is Donald Trump. If they don't keep Donald Trump out of jail, who's the next person who can really take the reins? Ron DeSantis? I mean, outside of political reasons, I don't really see him even wanting that job as of right now. Mike Pence is the next closest person, and we all know that he doesn't even have the charisma to lead the party. And so, whether Trump goes to jail or not, and I'm not holding my breath about that or not, as we talk about all the time, I'm pretty convinced that Trump's going to be the 2024 Republican nominee, at least. Without that, the Republican Party has nothing, and they know that Donald Trump can't lead the party forever. And so what other options do they have except to continue to creep further and further to the right, to creep further and further into authoritarianism, as we see voter suppression laws being passed everywhere, as we've seen the growing politicization of every single thing in society, the growing culture wars that mainly the right's focused on. This has a huge impact on not just voter turnout, but just people disregarding the law completely. So we're really going to have to keep our eyes on this, because the Republican Party, an insurrection happened, an attempted coup happened. And for the most part, the entire party's like, who cares? So, that's nothing to scoff at. That's nothing to laugh at. So we really got to rise to the top.